Nothing is real but God. Nothing matters but love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. We'll continue with our reading questions Meher Baba answered. We have picked up this book because many people have many questions, and I'm sure during Baba's physical ministry on earth, many people must have asked Baba questions, and so this book more or less answers quite a good percentage of what normally people ask of Baba. So now we are reading the chapter on page 33, which reads on teachings of avatar, of avatars. Yes.
Why do the teachings of the avatars differ from each other? The avatars are the manifestation of the same divine element incarnate in this world at different times. Therefore, their teachings have to be adapted to the mentality of their epoch. At times, the avatar bases his teachings on the search of the personal God, and at another time, on the search of the impersonal aspect of God. At one time, he will prohibit the eating of pigs' meat, drinking of wine, or eating of cow's meat. It is like in a hospital where the sick complain about their thirst. The doctor will prescribe tea or coffee in the morning, water or a refreshing fruit juice in the afternoon, and in the evening, sour milk. Then, before sleeping, hot milk. God, manifesting through the avatar of different periods, quenches the thirst of man in different ways. All human beings, whether consciously or unconsciously, have the same thirst for truth. Meher Baba Journal, Volume 2, Number 7, May 1940, page 416.
Acha, before we start reading, just an announcement. I was just reminded by Sam that today, and we knew, of course, that today is Hoshang Dada Chandji's birthday. He's our president. So let us all sing birthday song for him, and then we start with the reading. So if you want, you can unmute your mic and let's start singing for our president. Happy
Happy
birthday
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 to
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 you.
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 Happy
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 birthday
birthday
to
birthday
to
you.
to you.
you.
Happy
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 birthday,
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 dear
dear
Ocean.
Ocean.
Happy
Happy
birthday
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 to
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 you.
you.
Hey,
God,
Baba.
very good, Baba.
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 Thank you. You can all mute your mics, please. Thank you.
Before that, I'm glad we all have day jobs to make a living. We can't make
Okay.
us singers.
Uh, all right. So Hoshang is our president, and we wish him all the very best in life. May he have many more returns of the day, good health, peace, joy, and of course, love in Baba is wished for. Now, let us on teachings of avatars. There is one mic open, it seems. Got some noise. All right. See, we all know that the avatar is the unique personality. Because God is one, avatar is always one. He is the same as Zoroaster, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and now Meher Baba. He is the only exception to the rule that God realized masters do not incarnate, reincarnate. He is the only exception because he was the first one to make it all by himself without having any master. The first soul to have realized God, he becomes the avatar. And he keeps coming over and over again. Millions of times he must have come and another millions of times he would be coming. So that is the avatar. Do not mistake the avatar journey, which is the descent God to man, with any other journeys which is from man to God. So now a question may arise that how is it that the teachings of the avatar are different at different points in time? I'll tell you another story where somebody asked Baba, okay, all the past avatars have already said whatever needed to be said, the truth, of course, the truth. What different are you going to speak? And Baba beautifully said that if there was any difference, then it would not have been the truth. The truth is constant, one and the same. My understanding is that the packaging of that truth, the presentation of that truth to humanity is dependent upon the maturity of the humanity to accept and perceive that truth. The kernel, the crux, the basic underlying truth is the same. It cannot change. If it changes, then it is not the truth. But the way it is presented, the way it is packaged is different based on the mentality of the humanity and based on the maturity of the humanity to accept it. There are times when he has openly declared, I am God. Meher Baba did that. Krishna did that. Jesus did that in a veiled manner, like my father and I are one. Nobody goes to my father except through me. The scriptures are answered when he's reading the scriptures, which says, that God takes a human form for salvation of humanity, etc. So he reads it, he closes the scroll, and then says, today the scriptures are answered. So in other words, indirectly he did it. But certain, like Muhammad, Paigambar, he said that he is the messenger of God, you know. But Krishna said, I am God. So depending upon different times, he speaks the same truth but packaged in a manner that it is acceptable to humanity. So now let's read over here. Why do the teachings of the avatars differ from each other? The avatars are the manifestation of the same divine element incarnate in this world at different times. Therefore, their teachings have to be adapted to the mentality of their epoch. Means that period of history. What is the mentality? What is the maturity of humanity? Accordingly, he would give the message. At times, the avatar bases his teaching on the search of personal God. That means what should I say? Sagun Sakar. That means with attributes and with form. And at the other time, on the search of the impersonal aspect of God, which means Nirgun, Nirakar, formless. So at times he will advocate form. At times he will not advocate form, but he would advocate formlessness. At one time, he will prohibit the eating of pig's meat, drinking of wine, or eating of cow's meat, depending upon time and circumstance. It is like in a hospital. Now, Baba gives a very superb example. It is like in a hospital where the sick complain about their thirst. There is a sick person in the hospital and he is complaining about the thirst. Thirst is common, but now the doctor is recommending different drinks to the same patient for different times or to different patients at different times. How? The doctor will prescribe tea or coffee in the morning, water or refreshing fruit juice in the afternoon, and in the evening, sour milk. We call it tak or chas, sour milk. And then before going to bed, before sleeping, hot milk. God manifesting through the avatar of different periods quenches the thirst of man in different ways. All human beings, whether consciously or unconsciously, have the same thirst for truth. That means that first hooky, urge, whim, lahar, who am I, is built in, it is inbuilt each and every soul, drop soul. And that is searching for the answer. very initial stages of evolution, it is searching more or less unconsciously. Then, as we progress here, as human beings, also we are searching with a little extra consciousness. Consciousness in the sense of intellectual consciousness. When we tread the inner spiritual path, the search is more and more conscious till we become one with God. Then the search ends and we realize that we are ourselves the sought and we are ourselves the seeker. In other words, the seeker himself becomes the sought, right? So, at the fag end of the journey, but in the intermediary phases, it is the sought who is behaving or acting himself as the seeker. The sought is becoming the seeker. At the end of the journey, the seeker himself becomes the sought. The lover becomes the beloved. So that's the end of the story. So your Baba says that each and every soul has that thirst, and in order to quench that thirst, the avatar gives apparently different teachings at different times, just as a doctor recommends different drinks at different times to quench the thirst. Yeah. Any questions on this? On the thirst? Nothing. Chalo. Now we go on to on work of avatar. Sorry. Sorry. Teaching. False and real. Page number 37. I'm uh, selectively selecting certain passages which I feel that it will give a good knowledge to us and it is relevant to what we are. Otherwise, there are so many other things which we may not be directly interested in. So we are now moving on to page 37 on false and real states.
1. False waking state. 2. False dream state. 3. Sound sleep state. 4. Divine dream state. 5. Divine waking state.
I'll just, I'll just very briefly round this up so that the latter part can be easily understood. False waking state. Right now, we all consider ourselves as awake. We are awake. We are not sleeping. But according to the truth, according to reality, according to Baba, this is the false waking state or false awake state. Number two, false dream state. When we go to sleep, we always pass through the dream state and then to the sound sleep state. And once again, when we wake up in the morning, we pass through the dream state and then we get into the false waking state. That is the process all the time, whether we remember the dream or not, and whether the dream is for a split second or not, but that is the pathway, right? So here Baba talks about the false dream state. That is the state when we go to sleep, we pass through the false dream state. That is one of the states of consciousness. Number three, sound sleep state. Sound sleep state means what? Deep sleep state, which means what? There is no awakeness, there is no dream, there is absolute, complete vacuum, nothing, right? In this sound sleep state, I am repeating this, we are actually means actually one with God in what Baba calls the Paratpar Parabrahma state, or the beyond state of God, or Vara ul Vara state, or Gaheb ul Gaheb state. We actually are in absolute oneness with God in that state. Baba refers to that state as state one of God. When you read God speaks, that means how close we are to God. Actually speaking, Baba says you are God. But apart from that aspect, because we don't experience it, but at least in the sound sleep state, we actually become one with God And if we have that period, which is relatively of a longer duration, when we get up in the morning, we feel very refreshed, invigorated. All the repairing work in the body gets paid. And what wakes us up are nothing but the samskaras. The unspent samskaras will wake us up. It will goad us. ऐसा डंडा मारता ऐसा. चलो wake up, wake up, wake up. Spend us, utilize us, experience us. Yeah, Soumya says that sometimes, if you are having any problem, you might even get solutions to those problems when you are settled in that particular state. You don't get solutions in the sound sleep state. No, because sound sleep state, vacuum. But when you're waking up on the way back to the false awake state, you might click on a solution because you are now refreshed. The fourth stage, divine dream state. Divine dream state, this is also a dream, but this is the dream which the aspirant or the Raherao or the wayfarer dreams during the pathway of the involutionary journey. That means once you step on the first plane of consciousness, and during that time also, you see all the nazara. You see all the nazara. You see so much of power, so many things. You smell some beautiful aroma. You hear the tinkling of the camel bells, as they say, and all that. So that is that is the divine dream state, which is experienced by those people who are on the spiritual path. And then divine waking state, which means you are awake, and you are awake in your divinity, in your infinity, in your unlimitedness, in your advaitness, in your oneness. You experience oneness of each and every one and each and everything, and you are at all times fully awake. In other words, you never ever go to the sound sleep state. That means the journey that starts from the beyond state of God in state one, as Baba talks in God Speaks, it ends with the beyond state of God by experiencing the I am God state, and that is a permanent, perennial, without a break experience. I am God. You are fully awake. Right now, also, I consider myself as awake, but this is the false awake state. Because when I go to sleep, I lose my consciousness. Whereas those masters who have realized God, when they go to so-called sleep, it can't even call it sleep. When they go to the so-called sleep, even in that so-called sleep, they are awake. So these are the 5 states. Now let us see what Baba has to explain later.
Ordinary human beings experience the first three states every day. In the first state, they experience the universe with full consciousness. In the second state, they experience the universe in semi consciousness. And in the third stage, they experience nothing in sound sleep.
Yeah. I think sentence by sentence, if we go, we'll be able to understand better. Ordinary human beings. I consider myself as ordinary human being. I cannot say about you, but I assume that we are all ordinary human beings. We only experience these 3 states. Why? Because the fourth is for a person who is on the involutionary journey, and the fifth is for the one who is awakened, already one with God. So for most people, we go through these 3 stages. One, false waking state, where you experience the universe with full consciousness. We are experiencing the body, the surrounding, the stars, the moon, the sun, the earth. We experience everything. We experience the universe in the false awake state. Now, the second stage is, in the second stage, they experience the universe in semi-consciousness. First one, full consciousness. Second one, semi-consciousness. Why? And why universe? Because all the dreams are connected only with the gross. Because our perception, our experience, our whatever we have inputted in our system is only gross. So in the conscious state. In a semi-conscious state, we are actually using our subtle faculties unconsciously and indirectly. I'll give you an example. I am dreaming. I am dreaming of some person. That means I'm seeing some person, but my eyes are closed. So how is it that I'm seeing? I am seeing with my subtle eyes. Now I'm talking to somebody. How am I talking? My mouth is closed. I am using my subtle mouth. I am hearing. My friend is replying to me. How am I hearing? I'm using my subtle senses of hearing. So, in other words, in my dream state, but all these senses that I am, subtle senses that I am utilizing and using, but I am getting the experience only of the gross, not of any of the planes, mind you. Now, if a person, a yogi or a saint in the spiritual line, spiritual journey, evolutionary journey, they use these subtle senses consciously. That means they know how to modulate, just as how I am using my physical five senses consciously and my subtle senses semi consciously and indirectly. Those on the subtle planes use these very senses in an awake state. In other words, consciously. They are not aware of the gross consciousness at all. They may appear to be eating, drinking, sleeping, talking, walking, whatever, but actually their consciousness is focused on the subtle. Am I making sense? So that was the second. Somebody's mic is open, please. Okay, so that is the and the third one. Here, Baba very beautifully says that in the second stage they experience the universe. In other words, we our experiences even in the dream state are only connected with the gross. Okay, we experience the universe in semi-conscious state, and in the third state, which is the sound sleep or the deep sleep state, they experience nothing, absolute nothing, void, vacuum. It is not that the consciousness is not there. The consciousness is in abeyance. It is not, it is latent. And then the samskaras will awaken and then we start the day again. So these are the three states in which normal, ordinary people enter every single day. Go ahead.
ઓહો બહુ ખરાબ છે એનું તો એમ તેમ એમ
Mirnas, please. Thank you.
In the fourth and fifth states, one gets the experiences pertaining to the divine. Though waking is common to both the first and last state, and dreaming to the
So,
second
Mirnas, can you please mute? Thank you, dear. Okay.
and dreaming to the second and fourth states, there is a great deal of difference between the first and the last, and between the second and the fourth. Whereas the first and second are false states, the fourth and fifth are real states. In the false waking state, the Atman experiences the universe, but in the divine waking state, the Atman experiences the self. The difference between the third and fifth state is that whereas in the former one experiences nothing, neither the universe nor the self, in the latter one experiences the self, though not the universe. Divine awakening means the experiencing of sound sleep state in the waking state. But one who comes down for duty's sake is conscious of both the universe and the self and is acquainted with all the five states. The Meher Message, Volume 2, Number 9, September 1930, pages 2 and 3. What is that thing you said?
I'll say. See how beautifully Baba explains the first three states: awake state, dream state, sound sleep state belongs to everything false. The fourth and the fifth are the real dream state and the real awake state, which is belonging to the reality. And there is a world of difference between these two. Now, Baba says, in the fourth and the fifth states, one gets the experiences pertaining to the divine. One was false, now it is divine. One is the divine dream, and the second is the divine awakening. Okay. Though walking, sorry, though waking is common to both, waking is common to both the first and the last stage. In the in the first state, the waking is there. For example, ourselves in the first state, the waking is there, but it's a false state. In the last state, which is the fifth state, the waking is there, and that is the truth or the reality or realization. So, although both are waking, there is a world of difference between the first and the fifth state. Though waking is common to both the first and the last states, and the dreaming also is common to the second and the fourth state, there is a great deal of difference between the first and the last, and between the second and the fourth. The second was our dream, the false dream state, and the fourth was what? The real dream. It's a dream, but it's a real dream state. So although in the first and the fifth, waking is common, and second and the fourth, the dreaming is common, but there is a world of difference. Whereas the first and the second are false states, which we know, the fourth and the fifth are real states. In the false waking state, that means now what we are at the moment is false waking state. The Atman experiences the universe. We are experiencing the universe, the form, everything, the stone, the buildings, the lane, the sun, star, sky, everything is connected with universe, and everything that is connected with the universe is of gross. But in the divine awaking state, the Atman experiences the self. Now, in the first state, we are experiencing the universe. In the fifth state, which is the divine waking state, the Atman experiences the self, capital S, which means God realization, which means self realization, Aham Brahmasmi state. The difference between the third and the fifth state is that whereas in the former, one experiences nothing, neither the universe nor the self. The third state we did was what? Sound sleep state or deep sleep state, where we experience nothing. I am, but the consciousness that I am is not there. That is nothing short of bliss, actual bliss. There is no headache, there is no backache, there is no nothing, there is no mother-in-law, there is no daughter-in-law, there is no toothache, there is no financial difficulties, there is no nothing, there is nothing. All your problems, aches and pains have temporarily gone away in the third state of sound sleep state. That is our real state of bliss. But unfortunately, we do not experience that state consciously. We are experiencing that unconsciously. If we are able to experience that state consciously, then that is God realization, where there is no pain, no problem, no nothing except I alone am. You understand? So here Baba says that in the third state, they neither experience the universe nor the self. In the latter, that means in the fifth state, one experiences the self, though not the universe. Excuse me. When you attain God realization, you experience nothing. Sorry, except the self, as the self in all other selves. In other words, the first step of God realization is you enter the divine vacuum state, the real nothing state, where your consciousness is I am God. The universe does not exist, the body does not exist, the three worlds, mental, subtle, gross, does not exist, the six lower planes of consciousness does not exist. In short, the universe does not exist. But Baba says divine awakening means the experiencing of sound sleep state in the waking state. That means I am experiencing that sound sleep, but I am awake. That is the divine awake state or divine waking state. Now this is important, but one who comes down is in inverted commas. Comes down does not mean that he is dead and gone and again reincarnating. No. Once he's gone, he's gone. He's enjoying bliss eternally. Comes down means comes down in consciousness. Comes down means regains the consciousness of the mental world, the subtle world, and the gross world. Comes down means that. And there are only those five who come down as perfect masters. And of course, the Saliks also who come down, but they have no duties to perform. So I'm reading what Baba says. But one who comes down for duty's sake, for the sake of duty, is conscious of both the universe and the self. In other words, after achieving God realization, that particular soul retains his God consciousness and also regains the consciousness of the lower six planes and then, of course, the gross world. In other words, he regains the consciousness of the universe and retains the consciousness of the self or of God and is acquainted with all the five states. That person is acquainted with all the five states, the false awake state, the false dream state, the so-called sound sleep state, the real dream state, and the real awake state. He experiences all that state, all those states simultaneously at the same time. This is from Mayor Message, Volume 2, number 9, September 1930, pages 2 and 3. Any questions
Yeah.
on what we asked just now? Let them ask. Let them ask. Sorry?
What is Turiya state?
Well, the Turiya state, Turiya Avastha is between, Baba doesn't explain that. It is the go between the state of Nirvan and Nirvikal. So that is called the Turiya Avastha, the go between. But Baba is not explaining that over here. Anybody else?
Pallavi has a
Please go
question.
ahead.
Pallavi.
Yeah.
Pallavi.
Jai Baba Cyrus.
Yes,
Hi,
Pallavi.
Soumya. Yeah. So I wanted to ask that a God realized soul would be in the fifth stage.
On what?
God realized.
Yes.
Yeah. So if a soul is liberated, it is merged with a God realized soul. So would a liberated soul also be in the fifth stage?
No. 1 minute. Let me first understand the question. The God realized soul is on the seventh plane of consciousness.
Right.
He is already one with God.
Okay.
When we say one with God, not physically he remains just the same.
Right.
But in consciousness, his experience is I am God.
Okay.
So that is the meaning of self-realization or God realization.
Okay.
Now, out of the hundreds and thousands that may become over a period of time, there are only very few souls who continue to retain their bodies after God realization and also regain the consciousness of the lower six planes. That means of the universe. That means of the universe, including the gross, subtle, and the mental worlds. Retaining the God consciousness. You got me? And those are very, very few. Those are very, very few.
Right.
They are the combination of two states. One is Saliks and one is Kutub, yani perfect master.
Okay.
Out of those, whatever the number may be, Baba explains those numbers in God's speech. but we won't go into that. Out of
Right.
those, out of those who have realized God and who have got back the consciousness of creation, out
Mm-hmm.
of those, as many numbers, there are only five
Mm-hmm.
who are called perfect masters
Masters.
or kutubs or sadgurus. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Mayor, you have a question to ask? Your mic is unmuted. Okay. So now we still have time. Yes, we go ahead with the next chapter. See how beautifully Baba explains, and I'm sure those who are doing God Speaks, it would be very helpful to them because Baba very beautifully explains about the different states in which the consciousness passes through.
On the mind's wandering in Maya. The less you think of worldly Maya, the better. For the more you think of it, the greater becomes your anxiety for its enjoyment. This anxiety is the refuse that penetrates your mind and it stands in the way of self realization. Never allow yourself to be anxious for self enjoyment and consider your physical body a coat which your spirit has temporarily put on. Neither worry about nor fear any mundane thing, for the universe itself is a creation of imagination. You have within yourself the Paramatman, the planes, the planets, and the entire universe, but you do not know it. They are within you, but you do not see them there, for you are only without and not the real self within. You are so much
Mernas, will you please mute your mic, dear? Mernas, thank you.
you are so much enmeshed in this material attraction of Maya that you are unable to turn your eyes away from it. Your gross consciousness is false, but you regard it as real. The dense world is an illusion, but you consider it a reality of realities. The dense world is like a cinema show. So long as a film is being screened, you regard all the events that happen on the screen as real. If you happen to see there a rogue oppressing an innocent child or woman, you will forget that you are at a theater. You will enter into the feelings of that child or woman and will greatly be relieved if that child or woman is rescued by some hero whom you will doubtless applaud. The moment the show is over, you realize that it was but a picture you were feeling for and getting excited over. It was but a dream, a creation of imagination. In the same way, when you will come into contact with the supersensual worlds, you will think of human existence and dense world. You are all acting your parts on the stage of this world, and it is only when the play of the present nature of your life will be over that you will realize that this world is but a mirage and that gross consciousness is not real. The Maya is too powerful to allow your mind to be attracted by anything else. But with the grace of a real saint or a perfect master, you can turn your eyes away from it and towards Paramatman. It is the Sadguru's duty not only to turn the eyes of his disciples away from the illusion of the dense world, but also to remove all the obstacles so as to keep the way quite clear for them to proceed straight towards the goal of self realization. The Meher Message, Volume 1, Number 8, August 1929, pages 9 and 10.
See, way back in 1929, Baba has given such a powerful message uh, that even theoretically, intelligently, if we read to a very great extent, we are able to handle our lives situation because Baba is very, very clear, very open about the fact that besides God, everything is an illusion. We get attached to illusion. We get attached to our body, which is nothing but a coat. Now, supposing I am wearing this beautiful shirt and it is beautiful, but if there's a tear here and there, or if it gets burned, do you think I would be really feel? I mean, okay, ho gaya. You know, in the same way, the body is nothing but a coat, like a shirt, which we have adorned. Sorry, yeah, which for the spirit is the real thing. The self is the real thing, and the body is not the real thing. But because we have unfortunately, ignorantly uh, got ourselves enmeshed with the body, and therefore we take this as real, and that is where all these worries, anxieties, fears, and everything pops up. By no stretch of imagination, by I have never said, because many people will say, does it mean that we should not care? No, please love, please care, please take precautions and everything, but do not worry, but do not be anxious, knowing from God's words that it is just a quote that we all have put on. So now let us read Baba's messages, and I would like to complete this today, even if we have to go a little extra timing, because if we leave it halfway, there won't be maja for that. Okay. The less you think of worldly Maya, the better for the better. For the more you think of it, the greater becomes your anxiety for its enjoyment. Basically, we are all gross conscious human beings. When we are gross conscious human beings, we only perceive from our five senses of perception: the taste, sight, touch, etc. Right? Hearing, etc. In other words, we only associate ourselves with the body. In other words, we only associate ourselves with samvedna. Samvedna means sensation, feeling. If we feel something nice, sensation I'm talking, not the feeling of the heart, then we are very happy about it. In other words, we seek physical enjoyment based on sensation, sensory objects. Yeah, pleasure. So here Baba says, the better it is for you, because the greater becomes your anxiety for its enjoyment. In other words, if you look at desires, Baba says you have to cut down on desires. What are desires? Basically, it only means conveniences, comforts, enjoyments. This anxiety is the refuse. Refuse means the kachra, the garbage, the throwaway thing. This anxiety is the refuse that penetrates your mind, and it stands in the way of self realization. The more anxious we are, the farther we are from self realization. The more worried we are, the farther we are from self. In other words, Baba is giving us tips that if you wish to progress spiritually, throw away your worries, throw away your anxieties, throw away your fears, plan your work, do whatever needs to be done, work hard towards whatever your plans and goals are, but do not encourage fears, worries, anxieties, stress, etc., etc. Because that would take you away from the goal of self realization. Never allow yourself to be anxious for self enjoyment. We get anxious for self enjoyment. And consider your physical body a coat which your spirit has temporarily put on. This coat which we are wearing, the body, is a temporary coat. Maximum, how much? 100 years, 125 years, not beyond. Most of us 60, 70, 80, 90, over. So this is a temporary coat, and we have changed millions of coats to come to this stage where we have now got Meher Baba as our master. We've got to know his name. We've got to love him. We got to read about him, to study his life, to study his messages. That means obviously we must have changed millions of quotes before. We don't have a memory because the new brain has come in, and that is hindering the past memory. Forget about all that. What Baba is trying to say, consider your body only as a temporary coat which your spirit has put on for the sole purpose, only one purpose. Because only when you are in the body will you experience God realization. And that is the sole goal and what should I say, aim, dhay as we call it, is to achieve realization. Neither worry about nor fear any mundane things. Don't worry about, for the universe itself is a creation of imagination. Difficult to understand, but Baba says it, God says it, and all the past masters, all without an exception, have only said this, that the entire creation is an outcome of imagination, that there is no reality in creation. It is only a dream, it is only a show drama that is going on. All you need to do is play your role very efficiently, very effectively, and do not forget, don't bother about the result. It is just a drama. Baba says here, you have within yourself, not this body, capital S, the soul. You have within your soul the Paramatman. The Paramatma is within you. In fact, Baba goes on to say elsewhere that the Paramatma is you. You cannot exist without the Paramatma being in you. At those times, Baba was using the word Paramatman. So we'll go with that. This is 1929, as I said. You have within yourself the Paramatman, the planes, all the six planes plus the seventh reality plane, all are within you. The planets, all the planets that you see in the entire creation, Baba says, is within you. That is why Baba says that it is not that you are in the cosmos. Cosmos means the creation. But the truth is that the cosmos is within you. The cosmos is within you. When Baba talks you, it means the real you. You are the creator of your own creation, of your own universe, of your own realities in life, which is just an imagination. Just as how when we go to sleep and when we dream, what do? We create people, places, situations, occasions. From where? From our own imagination. In the same way, Baba says that this entire creation is nothing but a divine imagination, and it is not worth crying for, not worth being worried about, or not worth fearing anything. They are okay, the entire universe is within you, but you do not know it. They are within you, but you do not see them there, for you see only without. That means you are only tutored or self-hypnotized to only look conditioned, correct? Condition to look outside of you, without, and not the real self within. You are conditioned to only look without, and you are not conditioned to constantly dwell and delve within yourself and take your guidance, take your, whatever you call it. How do I move now from here? From within. We don't take the intuition. We are more accustomed to the tuition, which is coming from outside. You are so much enmeshed in this material attraction of Maya that you are unable to turn your eyes away from it. We are so attracted to the Maya, so that we do not want to turn our eyes from Maya. Forget about turning it within. We can't even turn it away from Maya. Your gross consciousness is false, but you regard it as real. The dense world is an illusion, but you consider it a reality of realities. In other words, the dense world, the universe, the creation is there. And it has a very important, significant purpose or a role to play in our spiritual development. Because if the world were not there, if the mirror was not there, you cannot see your reflection. So, in other words, the universe is there to make us experience all the experiences and then do not this, neti neti, and come to that real one real experience. I am that, or I am God, or I alone am. The dense world is like a cinema show. So long as the film is being screened, you regard all the events that happen on the screen as real. If you happen to see there a rogue oppressing an innocent child or a woman, you will forget that you are at a theater. It happens to us when we are seeing a film. You get excited when all that dushum is happening. Sometimes your hand just goes like this, you know. You also want to blow somebody, to give a blow to somebody. You will enter into the feelings of that child or woman and will greatly be relieved if that child or woman is rescued by some hero. So we get enmeshed into the, instead of playing the role of an observer, I have paid 200 rupees as ticket charges and have entered the theater and I'm seeing it. So I'm supposed to just witness what is happening. Instead of witnessing, I involve myself. I get enmeshed in those roles, and thereby I take upon them myself the feelings of those roles, of being a wicked person, or being a villain, or being a hero, or being the, or being a victim, oppressed, and all that. So I get myself enmeshed in that. At the end of the show, when you come out, that feeling may linger for a little while. After that, it is gone. Then you realize that it was just a show. Nothing of that sort actually happened. In the same way, all that we are witnessing now in the world, in the universe, Baba says this is nothing but a show. And when we finally get out of the show, that means when we finally realize ourselves, we will laugh at ourselves. What sort of, I was just, I was so anxious, I was so worried, I was so agitated, I was so much, against a certain government, a certain sect of people, certain caste of people, and I used to fight and fight for my right and all that stuff that was happening. It was just a passing show. Again, I'm correcting and saying does not mean that you should not do it. Do it with the thorough and perfect understanding that this is a show and I am playing a role in that show. Don't get sucked into that role. Don't get chusified, as we say, into that role. All right. The moment the show is over, you realize that it was but a picture you were feeling for and getting excited over. It was but a dream, a creation of imagination. In the same way, when you come into contact with the super sensual worlds, you will think of human existence and you will think of human existence and dense world. You are all acting your parts on the stage of this world. Once we realize that we are all expected to role play as a father, as a son, as a husband, as a daughter, as a da, we are simply role playing. Do not get enmeshed in that role. And it is only when the play of the present nature of your life will be over that you will realize that this world is but a mirage. It's just a mirage. It has no substance. It has no astitva. It has no reality. It looks like real water, but when you come close, it is there's no water. It was just a mirage, and that gross consciousness is not real. In fact, of course, as I always say, that Baba also evolved in his writing. So here Baba says gross consciousness was not real. But actually, gross consciousness is not real, Satu consciousness is not real, mental consciousness is not real. The only thing that is real is the consciousness, I am God. That's all. The Maya is too powerful to allow your mind to be attracted by anything else. Maya has so attracted us so occupied us. Yeah, enmeshed and occupied us in itself, that we cannot extricate ourselves from Maya to focus on what is real. It has actually enmeshed us, and it has, in a sense, what should I say, seduced us, involved us, attracted us that way, conditioned us to think that that is real. But with the grace of a real saint, at that time Baba was talking about real saint. Actually, real saint is that on the fifth and the sixth plane, or a perfect master. Baba says you can turn your eyes away from it and towards Paramatman. That means the help of these people. At one time, Baba used the word Acharya, as the other day, Ram gave so many other nomenclatures. So he did use all those nomenclatures, but then settled for what we are using fixed, like perfect masters or Sadguru or Kutu. It is the Sadguru's duty not only to turn the eyes of the disciples away from the illusion of the dense world, but also to remove all the obstacles. Once we are in the orbit, as we all are, I assume, in the orbit of the avatar, then it is his job to see our, that means he clears our path. We must have observed so many times that we are going through some difficult times, some difficult decision, and all of a sudden we realize that some lead, some pathway, Baba would show us and we would say, Ah Baba, thank you very much. So it is his duty to remove all the obstacles so as to keep the way quite clear for them. For them means the aspirants to proceed straight towards the goal of self-realization. So this was given in Mayor Messages, Volume 1, Number 8, August 1929. So you can imagine, 91 years before, page number 9 and 10. Any questions on this aspect of 2-3 readings that we did today? We still have 3 minutes for the
I
regular
think
timing.
Dinku has some question.
Sorry, one at a
Dinku,
time, please.
Dinku.
Okay, Dinku first.
Yeah, when you first talked about that, the gross stage, is that is synonymous with illusion? Am I right?
Everything is illusion. Gross, subtle, mental, everything is illusion.
Okay, so no, when you talked about
even the saints of the higher planes, even the yogi, the Mahayogi, or a Kuber of the fourth plane, even a Vali of the fifth plane, even a Pir of the sixth plane is in illusion. Except those on the seventh plane, everything is illusion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think Mayor had some question. Unmute your mic, please. Unmute your mic. Thank you. Mayor, go ahead.
Mayor, we can't hear you. Your mic is on mute. We can't hear you.
Okay, who else was there? In the meantime,
He's talking. We can't hear you. Your earphone, something is wrong.
remove the jack from the phone and then talk.
Yeah, remove the earphones.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Correct.
Okay. Cyrus uncle, how we have in Parsis, we said good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Is it something like that?
Like what?
What the thing you were talking about?
No.
In Maya?
No. Baba, we never talked about good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, but definitely good thoughts, good words, and good deeds help us towards the spiritual progress. But it also binds. Baba says that even good thoughts, good words, and good deeds bind you with good karmas or good samskaras. But I never referred to any good thoughts, good words, good deeds. No.
Okay.
Okay. Aman has a question.
Yes.
Please mute your mic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I be? Do you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Aman.
You see, you have said in the beginning that Paratpar Brahma, in the sound sleep state, we become one with God.
Yes.
On waking up, we get solutions to our problems.
Okay. No,
So
sometimes. Okay. 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 Go ahead. Please go ahead.
how does it, because other states, you are not with Brahma, you are not with God
Okay.
when you are in the other state of sleep.
Let me explain. First of all, we are never ever separated from God. Never. Even now, you are in God only. We cannot be out of God at any time. You cannot be, because God is
Yeah.
infinite, right?
Hmm.
Right. Now we are now we are talking about the states of consciousness. What we are now in, Baba says, is the false waking state. Where
Achha.
false waking state in God only, right?
Hmm.
Now talking about the sound sleep state or the deep sleep state, we are again in God, but in which state of God? In the Paratpar Parbrahma state of God.
But that is very, very high.
It is very, very high. That you are very, very high. That's why I keep sleeping as much as possible, so that I remain in that high state. No, it is high. See,
Huh?
there is no high or low. All this high, low, good, bad, upper, niche is in the domain of illusion.
Oh
It is
my
only
God.
in Advait there is no high, low. See, when we say high, low, we are talking Dvaita or we are talking duality, isn't
Huh.
it? There is only one, and in that one there is no duality. So there
This
is
is
no high,
Advait.
there is no low. There are different states of consciousness of God. So Baba says that in the deep sleep state, we are one with God in a state called the Paratpar Parbrahma state, or the beyond state of God. Number one. Number two, why we said we get solution is because many times the solution is at the tip of our tongue, but we cannot get it because our mind is very preoccupied and conscious with so many other things. Many times we all experience that there is something we are remember, it is just coming but not coming.
Ah.
When you and so when we go into that sound sleep state, then we feel refreshed, we feel invigorated, we are very refreshed. And there is a possibility, it is not that every time you may get a solution, but there is a possibility that if you think of a problem before going to sleep and ask your master, your God, yourself, Baba, that is what we all do and I do, Baba, I can samajh nathi padtu, I am not able to understand. Can you just help me? I am sleeping with that problem in mind. Then there is every possibility, 9 out of 10, you may get a solution when you wake up, because we have asked the universe to help you find a solution, number one, and we have rested sufficiently in the sound sleep state, and we are now there's a lot of clarity, a lot of garbage, kachra has been removed in that stage, and therefore when we are refreshed and when we come out of that, there is every possibility that you might just all of a sudden get the answer to what you have been searching for. That's what we thought. It's not that every problem you can get a solution just because you go
Okay.
to sleep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody
Yeah.
else? Yeah. Yes, Captain, we have a poll. Yes. So now from my end, I think we say Avatar Meher Baba.
Dar Meher Baba ki jai.
I give it now to the captain to go ahead and ask for the poll. Go ahead,
So we
Rakesh.
have a small poll, yeah. The It's appearing on the
Yes.
screen.
Yes, please.
So you just choose what you have, a computer, tablet, or a mobile. Just click it and then we are done with it.
Yeah. Okay. Done. I've done it.
Yes,
I've done it.
thank you.
Just put, because you tell why we are asking if you will.
So we are trying out on the new software. So in the new software, the computer, if you are logging through the computer, is a little
Very little. Very little. Huh.
difficult.
Yeah, I have all three. What do I do?
No, from you're logging in from
So
where? You're